Welcome to Flowing Clean, the radio show where the Sufa River and ravines have a voice and communities take the lead. Each week, we dive into the heart of the Flowing Clean project, discussing the most recent activities, giving insight into upcoming ones. We will uncover the science and the solutions behind clean, healthy rivers, from expert guests to local champions. This is your source for inspiration, information, and action about this project. Flowing Clean is funded by Jeff SGP UNDP and ProCarry Plus, and this program is made possible by SRDF as our collaborating and funding partner. Join us on Flowing Clean because every drop counts and the river depends on you. Flowing Clean, restoring our rivers together. Keep the river clean. Good morning, Sufre. Good morning to all the listeners. Good morning, St. Lucia. Good morning to those of you who are joining us online, on Facebook, on YouTube, and those of you who are listening to us on the radio, wherever you are in Radioland. Good morning to each and every one of you. My name is Nadia Kazabon, and I am your host for the Flowing Clean program, and we have some things to discuss today. We were supposed to have had two guests with us this morning. Unfortunately, one of them fell ill. So I decided to postpone their appearance on the show till next week, Tuesday. We will be having Mr. Bob, who will be speaking about his experience in the Soufrière, growing up in Soufrière, as well as working in Soufrière as the environmental health officer and working during the time of the Bilharzia incident in St. Lucia in Soufrière directly. But since he is unable to be here, we postpone both of the guests till next week. And I will invite you to join us then to listen into to hear what they have to say and to get the perspective on what the Soufrière River looks like now and what it used to look like before, and what they would love to see happen in Soufrière right now. The Flowing Clean project has had quite a few things happening last week. I'm going to brief you on some of those items. But before I begin, let me just say, wearing another hat of the Deputy Chair of the Disaster Committee, thoughts and prayers. I would like to pray for all those who are in Jamaica right now, enduring the wrath of Hurricane Melissa, which is a Category 5 hurricane bearing down on them right now. As we speak, the eye is just about to make landfall as one of the strongest hurricanes ever recorded since data started being collected. This is a terrifying hurricane. It is absolutely horrifying, and I can imagine what the aftermath is going to be like in that area. For the NEMO volunteers who have already indicated a willingness to be deployed to assist in the recovery, I hope you guys are all preparing for what is to come. Yesterday as well too, we also had a series of earthquakes that struck off the east coast of Guadeloupe, actually in the subduction zone, where the two plates, the Caribbean plate and the Atlantic plate, are colliding. One is submerging underneath the other. That is where the earthquake epicenter was, and the largest one was measuring a magnitude of 6.7. And so far, I recently just checked as I was sitting here getting ready for the show, there have been about 25 recorded earthquakes in that region since yesterday up till this morning that are measuring magnitude 3.5 and higher. The smaller ones are not being shown because they were too, as a friend of mine posted, too numerous to mention. So quite a few persons reported that they felt the first big one and that they were rattled and they felt it went on for quite some time. But I think the first one must have rolled into the second and the third ones, which were very close to each other in terms of the time. I only felt one of them out of all these earthquakes that have been happening. 25, like I said, I've counted on the UE Seismic Research Center's website, measuring 3.5 and higher. So for us, we know that we live in a volcanic zone. Our island is a volcanic island. We're on a volcanic arc. I'd also like to mention that Mount Pele in Martinique has also seen an increase in tremors that is being monitored from August of this year. And right now, they are conducting community meetings, and they will plan on doing a full island evacuation drill sometime next year, I believe. So, if Martinique is gearing up, I think we in St. Lucia need to be paying attention to what is happening there as well. So let's get back to our Flowing Clean project. Once again, the Flowing Clean project is a project that Waterways, the company I work for, it's a nonprofit organization, is implementing with funding. The primary funder is through the Jeff Small Grants program in St. Lucia, and it's from the Procari Plus project based out of Colombia, as well as co-funding that has been put forward through the Sufa Regional Development Foundation. They have pledged $60,000 funding towards this project, and we have additional co-funding to raise, and we should be receiving additional funds from the St. Lucia National Conservation Fund, as well as hopefully from another funding agency that we are working on right now. Our project activities are widespread, and our aim for this project is to get the Soufrière rivers, not just the main Soufrière River, but all the rivers that flow into the sea in the Soufrière district, in the Soufrière community, to flow clean once again. We have several of our rivers that we have been testing in the past that indicate that the water quality in those rivers do not meet the standards for recreation. That means nobody should be bathing in the Soufrière River. And to that end, nobody should be fishing in the river either. Actually, yesterday, I saw somebody, a young boy, fishing off of the bridge by the Soufrière Primary School. And I just cringed. I didn't say anything to him. I just asked him, what is he doing? And he told me he's just catching fish for bait. So I left it at that. So for us in the Soufrière district, we do not have this the rivers to use as we should. Our grandparents, our ancestors, they enjoyed the Soufrière River. Some of our parents as well bathed in the Soufrière River. But for my generation, we were cautioned and we were threatened, in fact, from utilizing the Soufrière River for fear of catching or being infected with the Bilharzia worm. So we want to ensure that everybody is aware that this project is taking place, and we want persons to look to the future to say we want that river restored so that we can protect what we have for the future use. God forbid if this was Melissa bearing down on St. Lucia. We know what happened after Hurricane Thomas, what happened after Tropical Storm Debbie. For those who are old enough to know what happened after Hurricane Allen in 1980, we know that after any major disaster, we have problems with water supply. Through no fault of their own, Wasco's lines get damaged, and we end up with an interrupted water supply. Sometimes it lasts weeks, sometimes it can last as long as months. Look at what happened in Canaries, for instance, after the Christmas Eve trough, where it took Wasco quite a few months to rebuild the catchment and to resupply, replace all the lines to get the water to the community. So if we do not want a situation to happen in Soufrière where persons are forced to go use the river, and we know right now that the river is unsafe for anybody to use. So we want to take action now, and it is not just Waterways, it is not just the foundation, it is not just the students or the people who are involved within the project. It is every single one of our responsibility to ensure that we change our bad habits, we change our actions, and this project is providing some level of support for us to do that. So the Flowing Clean project has been undertaking several community consultations. We started in June, July with the first round. We are starting the second round, and this time we're being joined by the Soufrière Action Theatre, who have put together a popular theater piece for us, and they have been performing it at our recent consultations. We held 2 consultations at the Soufrière Primary School The first one was for the new development, Palmist and Fonkaku communities, and it was not well attended at all. I was rather disappointed. We had refreshments set for everybody who attended. We were anticipating to get about 50 people to come. I sent personal invites. We had the town crier going out with a loudspeaker. We had it on the radio. We had it on the news. We had WhatsApp flyers on social media. I apologize for that. I thought my phone was on vibrate. Let me change that. So for us, it has been disappointing, to say the least, with the turnout at the Sufre Primary School. The second consultation we had, the second meeting we had was also at the Sufre Primary School. This time it was for residents of Town Extension, Riverside, and Forbeny area. That one also was poorly attended. We barely had 10 people show up. So we decided for the other consultations, we are going to go in the community. And we had a consultation on Thursday last week in Barron's Drive. And I must say, thank you, thank you, thank you to the persons who turned out. The consultation was for residents of Lenny's Hill, Barron's Drive, and Market Road area. And we had quite a few persons turn up at our consultation. And I want to say the feedback that we have received from persons who were there, who listened, because we also had it streaming live. Actually had a Sufrerian call me all the way from Europe. He had watched the video stream live and he called to give his feedback, and he said this project is very much needed. And this is what we were hearing from people in the community of Barron's Drive. I presented the components of the project, spoke to them about how the community can benefit. SAT had the performance done at the beginning, and it was very well received. I want to commend the persons from Barron's Drive who have stepped forward and pledged that they will assist and they will get the group together, the Barron's Drive Youth Organization, to adopt the ravines in the Barron's Drive community. It is through this collective action we are going to achieve a measure of success in cleaning up the Sufre River. The project addresses several of the waste that enters the Sufre River, and it is through our actions that that is happening. So we are addressing the solid waste in terms of the plastics by having persons monitor what is happening, appealing to every St. Lucian, every Sufrerian, to dispose of their garbage properly. Do not dump your garbage on the road. Do not litter. Do not dump anything in the river. We are appealing to persons, if you have bulk waste, to put your items out on the days for collection, which is the first Wednesday of every month. We are appealing to people to monitor what their relatives, what their neighbors are doing, and to call them out, to encourage them to follow the best practice, to follow the rules, to follow what is supposed to happen, and not be the ones dumping. Because let me tell you, Sufre is a beautiful community. And it is not the majority of Sufrerians who are littering. Sufre has over 8,000 residents. If every single resident was littering, the community would be a pile of garbage. It is a few persons who are the ones who are constantly dropping their litter on the road or dumping garbage where they should not be doing. And if we allow these few persons to have our community looking in such a mess, they're not going to stop until we call them out on it, until we put pressure on them. And I would like for our first action to be persons holding each other accountable, persons speaking to one another, and for persons to say, okay, I'm going to stop what I am doing, rather than for us to go the second option, which is to involve the authorities and to issue arrests and charge and fine people. If it has to come to that, it will happen. If it does not have to come to that level of involving the police, I would rather it not. But if it has to come to the point of involving the police, I have no qualms in calling the police for the few persons who are the ones causing the problem in the community. We are addressing the issue of compostable materials, green waste entering the river. When people do their gardening, clean up their yards, they end up with bags and bags of green waste. And we know that SADO does not pick up more than one bag of green waste at a time from any house. What do people do? They dump the bags of leaves and grass and twigs and branches in the river. If we allow everybody to continue on that with that habit, what do you think is going to happen when we have a heavy rainfall event with all these bags and all these twigs and all these branches, all these logs in the river? It's going to cause a problem downstream for somebody. It's going to cause a flooding issue, as is what happens in the Shock River. We do not want that to happen in our river, as has happened in the past. So we want to discourage persons from dumping green waste in the river. And to do so, we will be setting up a community composting facility in Soufrière, where persons can take their green waste when they do their gardening in their around their homes, and they maintain their hedges, they trim their flowers, they take care of their backyard gardens. We are also looking into the issue of persons dumping oil down the sink in their kitchens or in the gutter in front of their homes, in the river on the sidewalk. So we want persons to know that you can actually use the cooking oil, the used coconut oil from your homes. You can actually use these things to make fuel. And we, under this project, will be bringing a consultant to take a look at how feasible is it for us to. A biofuel production facility in Soufrière. It doesn't have to be Waterways running it. It could be in partnership with a group who wants to make that into a business, or a couple of young persons who want to take on that as a business venture, to work with us to set up a community composting facility, a community biofuel production facility, where we will be converting the used cooking oil into biofuel that vehicles run on. It's being done in St. Lucia. It's already being done right here. Sandals on their property up north, they're making biofuel from the cooking oil that they generate at all their properties, and their vehicles are running on that biofuel. And I can tell you, vehicles running on biofuel have a better efficiency. You get more miles per gallon from the biofuel than you get from regular petrol. There is a business opportunity right there. So we want to work on that with whoever would be interested. If we have to do it on our own, that's not an issue for us. We would just have to be hiring people. But I would love for somebody to partner with us first to get that done. In Barbados, the gentleman who had a gas station, he did that. He produced his own biofuel. And anytime he had fuel for ready for sale, his fuel would run out within a couple of days, because motorist drivers realized that the vehicle is running more efficiently. They're getting more miles per gallon for that biofuel. So once he had any ready, it sold out very, very quickly. He had regular repeat customers. He could not meet the demand. He could not be producing fuel as fast as his customers wanted it. If it's being done there, it can be done here as well too. The project is also looking at getting groups, communities, residents, businesses to adopt sections of the Soufrière River. And we already have quite a few groups who have signed up, and I want to say thank you to them. We are going to be sectioning off the Soufrière River, the rivers, the ravines, to allocate groups with the different sections. And hopefully by the middle of next month, towards the beginning of December, we will start our training for the groups to start monitoring the river. Actually, on Thursday this week, in 2 days, I will be going out with the proprietor, the owner of the Complete Analytical Services Lab, CAS, that's Mr. Charmaine, for us to do the water sampling for Soufrière. That's in 2 days. And those water samples will be sent out for testing. Some he will be testing locally. We've already taken some samples. So for us, we should have our first set of results looking at a very broad picture of Soufrière, the water quality in the river, the springs, and the tap water by December, to have our first report produced. And we will have one big community consultation where we would invite everybody, all communities, to attend, for you all to hear about the state of the Soufrière River. We have several other activities that are happening alongside what's already being done, and it involves community participation. So I want to put the word out that we would be coming to the Fonseca community for our consultations next, as well as, so that includes Zeno, Wavin Clay, Wavin Clay to ride together, St. Philip, Mini, and we want to have these communities attend the meetings for us to get the word out, for us to get everybody mobilized, so that when we have our river cleanup, one big river cleanup, thereafter, everybody would be aware that there are people monitoring what is happening to ensure that the river stays clear and free of garbage. We will be installing at the mouth of the Soufrière River a litter boom that is going to be trapping any garbage floating downstream. And it is going to be, you will see it if you're crossing the Soufrière Bridge, the main bridge on Bridge Street by the fire station, you will see it. You will see what that boom will be collecting. And it is Soufrière people who are dumping those things on the sidewalk, in the drains, in the gutters, in the ravines, and in the river. The litter boom will be trapping that garbage. And then we will be having the town council, a couple members of the council staff, clearing it out and assisting me in doing audits, actually counting what's there and trying to identify where it came from. We want that after we do the cleanup, that we would have very little garbage being collected in that litter boom. So for people, we can do this. We need to do it. We must do it. Because the time that we live in now, climate change, we know that we are getting stronger and stronger hurricane systems, heavier rainfall events. Our community is very fragile. We need to protect our water resources so that when, I'm not saying if, I'm saying when we do get hit by a major hurricane, people will be able to access the Soufrière River without worrying about getting sick. We already have the notoriety of being one of the 2 communities in St. Lucia every week with the highest cases of gastroenteritis. That means diarrhea and vomiting. That's not a good look for our community, for us to be fighting for the first place in having the most cases of gastro. I also found out that we are topping the island with the most cases of air infections. That is not something that should be happening in our little community. We want to ensure that the water is clean, that the Soufrière River is flowing clean for our health, and not just our human health, but also the health of the animals and plants that live in the Soufrière River. The popular theater piece that Soufrière Action Theater is putting together, we will be filming it and turning it into a very short documentary, a short little film that we can be showing on social media for everybody to get a chance to see it. In that film, one of the characters played by Mr. Jude, he's called Tonton. Tonton, the character, speaks about all the different animals, the fish, the eels, the zondomi, the crayfish, quibish, all the different animals that used to be abundant in the Soufrière River that you can scarcely see if you find any right now. We are losing our species, our aquatic species in the river. And if we lose these aquatic species, that means it is going to change the ecosystem of the Soufrière River. And Mr. Jude was saying that he had done some reading to find out why did we have all of a sudden bilharzia cases in St. Lucia. And he read that something similar happened in a West African country. And what they found out is the crayfish eat the snails that the Bilharzia worm lives in. But we've been killing the crayfish to the point of near extinction. You can hardly find crayfish in the Sufe River anymore. So if you kill all the crayfish, that means the snails multiply without having the predator, which is the crayfish, to keep the numbers of snails under control. So one action that we do unknowingly causes another action that can have serious human health implications. So when we say keep the river clean, it is not just for the river to look nice or for the water quality to be good for us to be able to bathe there. It is also for us to ensure that the animals and plants that live in the Sufe River have the ideal environment for them to survive. That way, we ensure that we do not disrupt the ecosystem, we do not disrupt nature in that area so that the plants and animals can thrive, the water quality would be good, and us as humans can enjoy the water safely. Everything is connected. There's interconnectedness in every aspect of human life on earth. You might think that you do not have a connection with the birds, but you do. The birds conduct some form of pollination or transporting seeds to spread fruits all around. We have some form of connection. It could be that the fruit that you're eating was dropped by a bird maybe 20, 30 years ago and that tree grew. We have a connection to almost every single thing on earth. So we need to stop thinking that my actions, your actions do not affect anybody. It affects you not just today, but it affects you in the future. It affects your children and your grandchildren. So my appeal to Sufre once again is to ensure that your actions do not negatively impact the environment because it will affect you, if not in the short term, but in the long run. We want to encourage persons to participate in the activities that we are having when we announce them. We want to encourage more people to sign up because we do not have the entire river assigned as yet. So there's still some areas that we're looking for groups to adopt. We will be doing the training for people who have adopted the sections for them to know how to monitor the river. We will be doing training for them to learn how to test the water, how to assess the river bank to see if the river bank is stable or if it is in need of some intervention in terms of maybe tree planting alongside the river. Or if you see any discoloration in the water, if you see any dead fish or dead animals in the river, who to report to. So we want to continue this round of community consultations, and you will be hearing the ads. Stay tuned to 88.5. You will be hearing the ads about the Sufre, the consultation that we will be having in the different communities. It will be aired on 88.5, as well as the listen for when the town crier is going around. And if you hear an announcement for a meeting in your community, please come out. Refreshments are being served afterwards, yes, but also come out to hear what is happening in your community. We have grants that we will be providing to the community groups who sign up to $5,000 that the groups can apply for. But if you do not attend the meeting, you will not learn about that. So we want persons to actually turn out when we are having our meetings. We have quite a few other activities that are happening. In fact, I am working with some of the grade 6 students, and two of the projects that they are looking at is to monitor the birds in the Sufe River, whether we have any migrating birds that migrate from North America down to the Caribbean. One group will be looking at that. So I will also be working with the schools, with the environmental clubs at the different schools in that regard. So there's quite a lot that is happening under the Flowing Clean project. You can visit our website, www.mywaterways, mywaterways.org. Again, www.mywaterways.org. You can visit our website for more information on the project, also to sign on to the charter. And I have barely mentioned the charter because through our community meetings, we've been having several um, additional persons signing onto the charter after they hear about it. And Erlan is just showing me a satellite picture of Hurricane Maria. It is Hurricane Melissa. What did I say, Maria? Yeah, Hurricane Melissa. Taking me back, coming to the end of our program today. Hurricane Melissa is just the presentation on satellite imagery on radar. It's terrifying. It's stronger than expected, is what he's just reading. My heart goes out to the people of Jamaica because I've been seeing videos of people making light of the impending doom that they were facing. I think they had not been they have not experienced maybe in their lifetime how destructive a storm can be. And I think persons, even in St. Lucia, we tend to be so lackadaisical when announcements are made of storms coming. By the way, we're supposed to have some, I don't even know if it's supposed to be just a tropical wave when it gets to us by this Friday, or if it might develop into a depression. But please pay attention to the news, St. Lucia Met Office news, or if you want to go on to Barbados Met Office to see what they're doing, because I think Barbados Met Office is doing a much better job than SLU Met Office in St. Lucia right about now. We do have something that is approaching us for our local weather that we need to be mindful of. I'm not saying that we have a storm coming, or we do have a tropical wave approaching us. In fact, two waves are in the Atlantic right about now. So please keep the people of Jamaica in your prayers. The island is right now being hit by the eye, and this is the strongest Category 5 in the Atlantic Basin in recent history when measurements have begun. Our fellow Caribbean persons, we have St. Lucians who are living in Jamaica. I'm very thankful my aunt was able to evacuate before the storm hit. So we need to ensure that we make preparations for ourselves here. And when the word is given that something is coming, for us not to see people posting videos about having a hurricane party before the storm hits. A lot of people whose lives are going to be severely impacted. Some people have lost their lives already before the storm even hit. So please keep the people of Jamaica and those who are in Jamaica in your prayers. They will need it. They will need our assistance when it is all said and done. And from Jamaica, not just Jamaica, Haiti, the western peninsula of Haiti is being severely impacted. Cuba, the eastern end of Cuba is going to be hit by Maria as a major hurricane, still Category 3. From there, it is going to pass through the Turks and Caicos Islands and the southern Bahamas, and then it is heading towards Bermuda, possibly as a Category 2 by the time it gets to Bermuda. So quite a few countries are going to be impacted, and we need to do what we can to assist them when the call comes out for assistance, regional assistance. So once again, let me thank you, those of you who tuned in. Today's show was just an information session to let you know about what has been happening, what will continue to happen. Oh, and by the way, we will start flying the drone. So if you do see a drone hovering above your property, fear not. We're just trying to map where the rivers and the ravines in Soufriere are. So if you do see a drone flying over your property, let your relatives and friends know that we will be conducting the drone surveys for us to map where the ravines and the rivers in Soufriere are flowing. So from Bouton all the way down to Fongelé, we will be mapping those areas for the next 3 months. I think I have covered everything on my list for today. So once again, thank you very much for joining. Let me thank again our funders, first of all, the Soufriere Foundation for affording me this platform to speak directly to you. The Procari Plus project, thank you guys out of Colombia, and Jeff Small Grants, Mr. Romulus and Kuhn. Thank you to those who are listening, those who always tune in. Sheldon, thank you very much for tuning in consistently. The members of Belle Tijane Cuisine who keep on listening and commenting, thank you very much for joining us. Belle Tijane Cuisine is a group that has recently formed in 2023 in Soufrière. For any resident of Soufrière, it's open to any resident of Soufrière who have a backyard garden and they are doing organic backyard gardening. They're not using any chemicals, whether it be fertilizers or pesticides. We do training. Well, they have done the training on using natural plants to make their own fertilizers and to make their own pesticides. So they're promoting organic backyard gardening, and they will be soon starting up with gardening clubs in the different schools in Soufrière. So look out for that. And if you're interested, if you have your own backyard garden, you can join. You can. They've provided water tanks to group members. They're right now setting up their gardens for them to be producing seasonings, because they tried a seasoning mix that the chefs love. Chef Orlando, he gave it very high ratings. So they're looking to start producing a prepared seasoning mix that you don't need to add salt. The seasoning, with just the seasoning by itself, makes the food taste so flavorful. So look out for that as well. But to all the listeners, thank you once again, and have a wonderful day and a great rest of the week.
Make you know they shall like it. I don't want nobody to give my matter. Make you know they shall like it. I don't want nobody to give my matter. For this life I day, I want to be celebrated. Don't wanna waste my days, I want to spend them on enjoyment. It's been too long, not done is you. Money, every day party. I said the night, start to move, like you smoke.